and then we'll go through what we're seeing, because it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, this week is interesting. Let me move this window thing here. Good morning, everybody. How are we? How is it in your part of the world today? Quick look at the messages. Who's that? I can't see that. Oh, it's Graham. Morning, Graham.
Morning, guys.
Looks like everybody's filtering in now. Hello from Northern Rivers, New Australia. Did you have the time change there as well? All right, okay.
Yeah, I did.
I've got a jam-packed session today, so we will get right into it. So just starting off with Bitcoin on the weekly then. If we look at broadly how things have played out since, before the halving, back as sort of, February 2024, we have these very long periods of sideward action that tend to then go into some downside deviation and then pick up a little bit of steam, and we're into price discovery. Then we're into these sidewards periods, downside deviation, into a price discovery. We go sidewards, downside deviation from the range, into price discovery. Sidewards, downside deviation, into price discovery. Now, this last time we made a new higher high. It was this one here, which was about 123 before we downside deviated. And we've just made a new all-time high here as well. So this could be all over. That could be it. That could be all that you get. We've made a new higher high, and that, technically that would be it.
Yeah,
we can't just say that it will carry on. However, we're definitely, we have got the candle close within this 114, 125 range. So that was the thing that we wanted to do, was to get that candle close within that range after this downside deviation. And we've got that emphatically with a new all-time high. So now it's just a case of, are we going to kick on? Okay, that's the question. Scott always likes us to put those percentages, so I'm more 60-40 that we'll see more price discovery going forward. But how long that will take, what it will do before that happens, I don't know. If this had just blasted straight through to 130 and we were still going up today, well, that's a different story. So I'll park that there, and then we'll have a look at my favorite metric.
Yeah, you love it, man.
You
love the dominance.
I do love it. So we had, we got up to about kind of 65, which was below where we've been historically. Historically, we rejected at this 70 level, but that doesn't mean that we have to or will return to it. And if you look at the ways that we got to that 70 before, well, it's very different from how we got to this 64, where we basically had this kind of straight line up. So I don't want to read too much into that. So we can just focus on that we had that rejection from 64, and then what we got as low as 57, and realizing that this isn't price action, it's just an indicator. But you could say, well, if this was price action, then this might be a relief rally, and then see us reject at 59, and then that locks in that we are on the way down. So what happens at this 59.60 is going to be super important for Bitcoin. So that's something that I've really got my eye on. Now, on the other side of that, if we have a look at the altcoin dominance, well, we've been in this very long downtrend, haven't we? That we managed to, break out of, but then we just failed and went down. And now we've just broken out of this again and we've retested it here. So we've got the Bitcoin dominance that's going up and we've got the altcoin dominance that's going down, retesting. So that's kind of interesting, the way that those two are playing out. And then if we take that information and think about it with ETH, which we tend to use as that marker, well, I think the important thing for ETH this week was to get a close in the top half of the range that it's in, and I think we just about got that. It's negligible, but I think that we're there. So we've got a few moving parts now. We've got Bitcoin making new all-time highs whilst the Bitcoin dominance is increasing. We've got the altcoin dominance having broken out from a very long downtrend and retesting it whilst Ethereum is showing some signs of strength. But the thing that I'm really interested in that makes an alt season is going from 315 billion on the total market cap to 424 billion. There's this great big empty space here. And when money starts to flood in, so if we have a case of Bitcoin tops out, dominance starts coming down, altcoin dominance starts going up, total crypto market cap is rising, then we've got conditions for an alt season. And we've got a huge amount of area here, like 90 billion in this range here that is just waiting to be, well, waiting to be put into my crypto wallet. So all in all, Maurizio, things, I'm seeing things as somebody that wants bullish conditions. I'm seeing things as having flipped bullish, but I'm seeing them flip bullish a little bit more steadier, which is something that Scott has mentioned in his emails. You don't just want this wee and then over. You want this nice and steady kind of build up. But the bit I'll hand it over to you is what we haven't seen so far in this cycle is everything coming together, 2017, there was only about 25 altcoins, now there's about 90,000 altcoins. I don't know, that was just ludicrous guesses. But the point is the multiplier of altcoins and projects that we've got now is substantially greater than what it was before. So will the rising tide lift all boats and we be in a situation where you seemingly can't lose? Because those are great situations when retail traders come into the market and they put their money in the market and they're laughing at people like me and you. What the fuck do you guys even do? I put my money into this, I win. This is easy. This game's easy. And those people always get raped because they've got just no idea what they're doing. They've got no idea when to get out or any metrics to follow. But we need them in the market, because this is a zero-sum game. Somebody has to lose their money for me to take it off of them. So we need these other market participants. So my final question, I hand it over to you, is, and this can be open into the chat as well. What price do we need to hit on Bitcoin to make it the hottest girl on campus again? Because, I mean, if you're looking at Bitcoin now, how much higher do you think it can really go? Is it really sexy enough to draw me in? It's like I'm a nobody that knows nothing about crypto. Oh yeah, look, Bitcoin, fucking hell, I need to get some of that. you know, because it's that FOMO, it's that sideline buyers that have missed out that we need, because they're the people that hated Bitcoin at 16,000, but at 150,000, yeah, I'm having me some of that, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot going on, dude.
Oh man, a lot of going on, and market dynamics. This is what I see, and obviously market dynamics have changed dramatically. I
Mhm.
mean dramatically. Why? And here's why. And you just mentioned something very, very important that I think we need to talk about, and is I didn't plan to talk about this, but this is very important to talk about. You just mentioned that, you know, the person in the street, you know, the regular guy, you and me, right? Or even people that haven't actually even traded, buy Bitcoin or anything like that. What price, you know, what is the exciting price for them to buy? Okay.
Mhm.
But I think we're asking the wrong question. I think the why? Because markets have changed in the matter of now Bitcoin is attractive to institutional buyers, not for you and me, for institutional buyers,
Mm.
right? You and me, and we all in this group, we like vegan shit. We like
Mhm.
stuff that will go out 100 to 100, 300%, right? That's kind of the stuff, the mindset that we have in crypto. For institutional buyers, they're different, right? They allocate in terms of research, in terms of narratives, in terms of things that are for a long term. And now what you're seeing is that Bitcoin is now attractive for these guys at that price. Not
Mm.
more, not for you and me anymore. Because if you're thinking from that perspective, or let me ask you guys, if you have $10,000 right now, will you put everything in Bitcoin right now? Right now, would you put $10,000 in Bitcoin? Why not? See, I raised
Yeah,
my case.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Why?
know.
And just give me an answer. Why not? Why would you not put $10,000 on Bitcoin right now?
Because there's a greater risk to reward in altcoins than Bitcoins, is my
Exactly.
belief.
Well, there you go. See, there you go. Exactly. Exactly. So I raised my point here. So the case have changed that now Bitcoin has become an institutional asset in a way, right? So that makes it stable in a way. Like, you know, the whipsaws that we used to have, like 20, 25% whipsaws, now are going to get reduced. But so volatility is reducing to the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you have institutional players, right? But gains is going to be reduced as well. You know what I mean? Like gains are going to be reduced, right? Because it's not going to be this asset that is going to duplicate in value. You might, I'll still, you know, I'll
Mm-hmm.
still have a lot of confidence that Bitcoin will, I don't know, 150K by the end of 3 years, more than that. You know what I mean? But at what pace that's going to happen? That's kind of the question, right? So
Well,
that leads me. Yep.
the now that the institutions are involved, along with the natural maturation of the market, we're going to start seeing potentially shallower bear markets as well, which is something that would happen with any asset that matures. So I think that just ties in with what you were saying about the volatility.
Yeah,
Like,
but then be careful with the bear market stuff, because I think that ties up with a global economy sort of deal. So if we hit a bear market in the S&P 500, let's say something happened, another war or something that triggers, then Bitcoin is going to follow. And obviously, Bitcoin being the riskier asset from the institutional aspect of it, then it's going to have a huge pullback, a huge, it's going to be affected.
mhm.
And on that note, alts are going to be fucking crushed. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, in essence, what it will happen if something happens to the S&P 500, right?
Mhm.
I'll show you a chart. The S&P 500 has just been ripping, man, like it's non-stopping. At
Mhm.
what point is going to turn around? You know what I mean? That's kind of the things that we have to be a bit more vigilant into it, right?
Okay. Quick question about the market pricing things in. So
Mm,
there was some recent economic data from the States about the jobs market. I think it was fuck, I can't remember which way around it was. It's too early in the morning. But basically, the information or the data that came through about the jobs market is the kind of data that would encourage another rate cut in the future.
mm-hmm.
This is where the market already prices in. It sees that data, it already prices in a potential future rate cut. And that's what gets us Bitcoin moving up before that rate cut actually comes in. I don't think I've had enough coffee yet.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's tough to say what's pricing what.
Mm,
Very tough. You know what I mean? Because obviously there's so many inputs or so many variables that it could be pricing the market at that particular time.
mhm,
Could be rate cuts, could be uh other metrics, could be new stuff on chain happening. It could be so many things. So obviously
mm,
when you get the only thing that I know, or you don't know, I don't know shit. No one knows, man. Like the
no,
only thing that I can think of, or gives me guidelines in terms of what is people are pricing in, is prior to the rate cut. Like if it's been very hard and you see a lot of stuff in X talking about the rate cuts and things like that, and things that's moving that direction, then more than likely it's being priced in. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the only thing in terms of price action
mm,
versus what people are talking about before the event happens. Now, after the event happens, that's when you say, this going to be sell the news event? That after the news happen, and if the news are the reality of what people were expecting, then that's when news become sell the news event. Because oh shit, okay, I was right, and then you see the price action around it and say, all right, I'm selling because I was right and whatever, and that's when you actually see the drop on price, right? On It's a tough one. I have no edge on that, man. I only see the price action in terms of wait to see what happens at the end of after the news are actually announced, and then you actually see the whipsaws, and then you see the market stabilizing to see what at the end of the day. Think about it from what are people willing to pay for that asset at that given time.
mm.
That's kind of my because I have like it could be so many different views. I have no idea. Like it's
Yeah,
very tough. It's very tough, man. Very tough to know what people are just thinking. You know what I mean? Especially institutional.
it is, man. And
Mm,
the another narrative that I see floating around is this kind of cycle extension. People talking about we're going to be in 2026 and we're going to be, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if you count all the days in all the cycles, right? Like if you go back to 2017, 2021, like we'd already finished.
mm-hmm.
We'd
Mm,
already fucking finished, right? And on average, the cycle's been extending by about a month each
mm,
each time, right? So when we were off air, I said to you, I think that this is the end game now. And I
mm.
and I kind of stick with that, if you know what I mean. It's like December is always the pivotal month.
Yeah.
December is usually when we are in a bear market,
Mm.
So to me, whatever's going to happen. Sorry, I just had a terrible thought. I was going to say it's going to
That's
come
it.
and come violently.
It could, and that's what crypto, man. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, it's what it is. And if you're in this game, you have to be prepared for that, I guess. You know what I mean? And that's it. Yeah, and that's I'm gonna go through some data that actually, is sort of something that I've been thinking about for a while, but I think it's more prominent now. And
Mhm.
here's what I think.
Nice. Let's have a
We
look
we
at
let's go through the charts and let's start with Bitcoin. Let's get that out of the way.
that.
And I just want to ask you guys, how many of you think that Bitcoin is going to keep going We just hit all-time highs now. Yeah, give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. What do you guys think? Or are you Bitcoin? Okay. His chair looks beautiful, man. Like, beautiful.
Mm.
Okay, supposedly, yeah, till the end of the year, 150 at least. Rising drug, but new bar end of now, going up. Depends on the world politics. All right, this is when it gets funny, right? Because we're still not yet on price discovery. So on the daily, right, we just closed below all-time highs. Okay, so obviously there is a lot of fear around this area, right? Yeah, and it's normal, right? Like the cryptocurrency is so fucking fear. Like when it's on, but when it's uncertainty, it sucks. A lot of people fear out of all this stuff, right?
Mm.
So that's kind of my thinking, right? Obviously, that's how I read this. You see a lot of fear on this price action right now. Not different of what you saw last all-time highs, and price just ripped through it, right? And then yeah, we did have a pullback, but then it was just ripped through it, right? So on every single test of all-time highs, we're going to suffer this. Now, the interesting thing here, right, and I keep saying over and over again, are people willing to pay this price for Bitcoin? And what do you think? Are you willing to pay $123,000 for a Bitcoin right now?
I don't know, man. It suddenly seems expensive.
I agree for you and me, right? So and for you guys, but like I mentioned before,
For institutions.
there we go. So
Mm.
institutionals, remember that institutionals just got the opportunity to invest on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Oh well, Solana not yet, but yeah, through the ETFs, right? So is this a proposition for institutions? And institutions thinks differently in terms of risk, in terms of assets, in terms of things. They think about strength. What is actually, that's why they're forced to buy these, because as a fund manager, and if you're not putting money on this and you basically tell your clients you never invest in an ETF of Bitcoin, you suck as a fund manager. At least if you place a risk, out of your portfolio, you place 1%, because it's a strong asset from any perspective, give or take, price action metrics. It's a strong asset. It's volatile, but it's a strong asset, right? So that's kind of what I'm seeing at the moment. So this is an institution-driven sort of approach, right? It's not a retail approach anymore. Therefore, I'll go back to my favorite indicator of all time. Mate, honestly, if you trade only on this, you'll be, you know what I mean? Look at this. And this is what this is kind of every day what I see, okay?
Yeah.
So we have Bitcoin here. We have the influx of CBD and CBD spot, okay? You have to make sure that it's the spot volume, okay? Why spot? Because obviously institutionals buy spot. They cannot, well, they could trade leverage, but in an instance, every ETF need to produce spot in the back end, kind of. So you see the market reflected here, okay? So this spot price correlates with the price action that we're seeing in futures, right? Or in the price action as a global thing. But whoever drives this price is actually a spot. So according to this, I think there is a high likelihood they're going to start breaking above this level. Why? Unless we start seeing a massive drop here, right? Then, and think about it from the perspective of the game that they play between leverage traders and spot, is that If you are a short trader, like you want to short the market, the best place to short the market is on all-time highs, right? Now, that's also the easiest way to gain like liquidity from a market maker provider. So if you have a lot of shorts here and you have a massive influx of a spot, then it's going to liquidate those shorts and price is going to keep filling up and filling up, filling up. That's been happening all over the place in Bitcoin, all over the place. So I think I wouldn't short it, to be honest. This price action seems to be too strong, in my opinion, right now, right? To actually short it. There are some times that you see weak price action, which I had plenty of days that we had, but then now I can definitely see that spots out there. Can we have liquidations? Yes. You know what I mean? So things that definitely are in the cards. I'm not saying that this is going to go up in a straight line because you do have the leverage traders, and leverage traders, they go short and long, right? And then you start seeing this stuff of things like here, liquidations to the upside, liquidations to the downside. But as long, you could see a wick like this, right? Which liquidates the leverage positions, but the spot is still intact. That's the stuff that if you ever see that setup, which is the setup that we took on Solana, and unfortunately the stop loss that I placed was very tight. And anyway, I keep kicking myself in the back with that because that was the fucking perfect setup, man, and it stopped me out, man. But it is what it is, right? You can't actually but that's a setup, man, that if you this is a perfect thing. So if you see a liquidation event happening and then you see the market sort of maintaining its value and the spot maintaining its value, fuck, man, that's a long this is I will leverage that. Obviously the tough thing about that is basically the stop loss. Where do you place the stop loss? But this is, from that perspective, I see this as a prominent sort of price action, right? I see it that maybe we have a higher probability that we're going to start breaking to the upside, right? Can we have volatility? Yes, but probably this week, towards the end of the week, right? It could actually just consolidate a little bit here and allows more spot buyers to come in and then support this price, and then bang, we're going to start keep breaking up to the upside. So, man,
nice.
Unless something happen, right, and then you start seeing a spot dropping, then you get out. Then we're going to have a pullback, a huge pullback. You know what I mean? Like if this happens, right? Until new buyers are ready to start buying. Kind of. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm tracking. So far, as per this sort of price action, it looks prominent, right? So that's something that I do like in terms of Bitcoin. So
just ask you a very quick question there. It's a question in the chat from Mary. I wonder if you could go to an incognito tab or something and just show very quickly, because it will be recorded. So you can go back and watch the replay, Mary. I believe you don't need a subscription, and perhaps
no, you don't.
You can show us very quickly how to set these charts up.
Beautiful. No, yeah, good idea. So you go to velo.xyz, right? And then you click chart, right? And then you just bring a new incognito window.
I thought you'd have that on a shortcut with Pornhub already, just like hey Siri, take me to my leisure hour.
Shit.
Oh, she's actually done it.
Let me go 1 second. Okay. All right, you go to Velo, right? Open it. Okay, so you come to this sort of view, but you just you basically want the chart. Okay, so once you have the chart, right, you can split. I usually split it in two. the way that you split it in two is basically just hit here, and then you can split it in different sort of windows, same thing as trading view kind of. And then in this one, you can load the big time frame. I usually do the 6 hours on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, I usually load the 30 minutes just to keep a track of medium time frame. And so once you load that, right, let me just okay, the first indicator that I add, you go to indicators, right? Indicators, and then you do the aggregated open interest first, okay? And this is your leverage, the people that trade on leverage, right? You can add this on the whole, like if you right click, yeah, you can say add this indicator to entire layout. So it's going to add it here as well. So this is your leverage traders. So this is the open interest, right? So this is what people are trading. Bear in mind that open interest is basically the amount of contracts that are being open. That doesn't tell you that it's longs or shorts. The price action plus this, the open interest plus the price action is going to give you the direction. But don't be very careful. This is it takes a while to learn to read this properly. And obviously sometimes it's very clear, sometimes it's very difficult to know. So this is the first one. The second one that I use is obviously the spot. So going to indicate, before we make sure that you do aggregate open interest on coins. Like if you go settings here, style, inputs, make sure that you measure on coins. You have different types of measurements. By default are coins. What that means is basically coins is the contracts. It's not measured on US dollars. Volume is measured on coins, on the actual coins that are being purchased or the actual contracts, right? So that's the setting that I leave it on. And then you go indicators, let's add the spot. So you type spot and aggregated spot volume. Okay, so add this one. Okay, it's going to show you something like this, but you go on settings, right? And you want to measure on coins as well. But in the view, you want to set it up as a cumulative delta candles. This is the trick. Okay. And let me explain what's cumulative delta. Cumulative delta is basically takes the sum of buys and sells, the positive volume against the negative volume. They set it out, and that's the delta, the difference between the two of them. Okay, the cumulative is when you start adding what happens on a time frame by time frame. So plus minus, so it starts adding. So you can actually see that is being accumulation on spot on that regard. That's what makes this so cool in a way, right? It's a really good indication of why it's accumulating. If you see positive accumulation, that means people are buying on spot. As simple as that. If you see distribution or basically selling, is that people are selling, right? So that will be a really good place to short in a way. Now we add this into all intervals. There you go. That's how you add those two major. I do have other indicators as well. I do have liquidations, right? Which is basically what I just explained, and you can just add the liquidations. You go to indicators and say liquidations, right? And then you say aggregated liquidations because it's the aggregation of multiple exchanges, right? So you add that there as well. So that's the indicator that those are the main three. This one, the funding rate, you can add it as well as an aggregated funding rate, but that's something that I think with these ones will be sufficient, to be honest. Like the aggregated funding rate is a little bit different. Will take me like an hour to explain. Is that sufficient? What you guys?
That's perfect. And also in the welcome post in 100x, there is a cheat guide to open interest. It's an image, and it says if one is going this way and one's going the other way, that's how you interpret the data.
Right. So probably Warren, without subscription, I can't seem to be the aggregated spot volume. You can. It's just the aggregated spot volume. Obviously, you need to change the setting to community delta candle, but you can. This is there is no account. It's completely free. The only downside, you can have an account, it's free, and you can save these indicators. If you don't save them, then you're gonna have to reload it every single time. Okay, so that's kind of the main difference. So yeah, so let's keep moving on because I wanna show you something interesting. Okay, so that's basically Bitcoin, right? So keep an eye on this thing. If it starts dropping this level here, then I'll be sort of holding off in positions. So that's kind of my metric, my barometer to add or to not to add. Now, if I go to Ethereum, right? So Ethereum, now it looks interesting, but you can actually see it hasn't been able to manage to break the 4,500 level. Very like this is so interesting in terms of how that level is. It closest to the same level of the last couple of days. So this is weekend price action, okay? The interesting thing is that on the weekend price action, it didn't go nuts. I honestly prefer that, right? Because you know what happens on weekend? Weekends do not have liquidity. Institutions are not buying it, okay? So obviously anything that happens over the weekend is manipulators, price action. Yeah, you can scalp really good. Sometimes the market just holds those levels, but the fact that it went up, went down, but it's holding the same level as Friday, see, it is actually pretty interesting. So Ikea is our institutions are ready to buy at this level. Let's have a look. So if we go to what we see now. Okay. Come on. All right. So this is why the price did not go up. So see the difference between CVD volume candle between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So out of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which one you think is the strongest horse? Which one you think has all the attention at the moment? Exactly. Bitcoin. So why? Because this is this is a really interesting indicator, man. And obviously the downside of this indicator is not going to give you the whipsaws, the ups and downs, but it give you a sort of long-term, not long-term. If people are buying a spot, means that they're going to hold for a little while. So you can actually, use this to gauge that. So right now it seems to be a little bit of spot buying, a little bit, right? And it looks like spot is beating. But what I want to see before I sort of go is something like that, right? On spot, making sure that we have sustainability on the move, right? That's basically what I want to see on this. So if you ask me Ethereum, I think it's not ready yet, but it's getting there. And you start seeing liquidations to the up, to the down. So it's going to get volatile. And when is it going to be ready? When spot starts sort of doing this sort of behavior, right? If this keep coming down, I'll be very keen to perhaps wait for a show. You can actually show the market, but it's at this point shorting is kind of is difficult. Why? Because there is a lot of bullish patterns. So every pullback is going to be bought if it is a bullish action. Therefore, either you short and you do a scalp very, very short, or you wait for the pullback and then you buy heavily. That's what bulls are doing, you know what I mean, on a bull market. So that's kind of the behavior that I want to sort of replicate. Okay. So that's why I'm a little bit apprehensive on shorting at the moment, because everything that comes back down, it gets bought heavily on a pullback, And this is kind of the time that buying the pullback, it actually makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's because we are in a bullish pattern sort of deal. Okay. So yeah, I'll be placing attention on the CVD. You can actually make it a little bit, the time frame every 4 hours or every 1 hour. But then I think 30 minutes for me is a good way to gauge structure. So that's kind of what I'm do every single day. You guys in my videos, so every single day I sort of go through this stuff.
Nice.
Anyway, so that's Ethereum, Solana. Where are you? Right here. All right, so Solana, which, this is the price action of the last 2 days of the weekend, but it's still holding. So it actually went up, tried to break this level here, the 237. Let's see if we might have continuation. All right, so Solana looked pretty good here, and this is what I want to sort of highlight. Why this is really cool, man. Okay, so at this level here, right? At this level here, a lot of spot buyers are coming in. Do I know that this is a good level? No, I only know probably around here, right? When I know that this level is being supported by spot. Okay, so it's very hard to catch these bottoms. Now in here, right, you can actually see that price went up and spot volume keep going up, right? Now, this is the breakout right here of the spot, right here. Okay, right here. So spot starting to sell around here. So here's the question. Unless we see this coming back up, I see that Solana might not go up. It might just start breaking down a little bit more. Until what price? Who knows? But we have ideas. Okay, so this is where I'm seeing. So obviously, if we start claiming back down, right? If we start claiming back down, I expect this level to hold, which is the previous high. So this area right here, right? So essentially, if price comes back down to these levels around here, and it's usually a range, right? This to then I will start monitoring what is the reaction of spot buyers at this level. How do you know? CVD volume. And then if that's the case, then that could be a bottom. You place a long, stop loss below that, and happy days. Continuation of pullbacks. That's kind of sometimes you're wrong, and sometimes the stop loss is too tight. Keep kicking myself back on that one. But in essence,
you gotta let it go, man.
I have to fucking let it go. But you know why I can't let it go? Because I planned it for so long, man.
Oh.
I planned it for so long. I knew. You guys know. I probably said it the whole fucking week, and I got it in. Stop loss were really tight right here. I think stop me out, and then look, that would be a really good trade anyway. But that's kind of the behavior that I'm seeing on Solana. So yeah, markets still look good, but you know what I mean? All the attention is definitely on Bitcoin at the moment, right? So if Bitcoin starts breaking above, then maybe we're gonna start getting transitioning into Ethereum and Solana. And then that's when things are going to get really interested in my perspective, right? So yeah, perfect. So that's basically the majors, right? What I want to highlight is I've been the past week and I've been sort of putting together a spreadsheet, right, of airdrops. Why airdrops? I haven't, you know what I mean? I think it's the airdrop narrative is coming back really high at the moment. It's really hot. Why? We had the hyper liquid airdrops, which was massively successful. now we have Asta. Asta is going to give to start doing the airdrops in the next I think tomorrow. I think today it's going to start the and this is going to be massive, by the way. This is going to be massive. So I want to highlight and speak a little bit of why, like if you haven't done any airdrops, I think it could be a really good opportunity to something that I don't know if you guys understand what's airdrop farming or what is farming or how the fuck do you get that sort of stuff, you know? So I'll do a highlight and might, if you guys are interested, I can do more stuff over the whole week.
Sure. Yeah.
So the whole thing about airdrops is that basically all these new tokens before they launch, let's say a Hyperliquid, right? This is the best thing. Hyperliquid launched 2 years back or 1 year back. And then the whole premises of Hyperliquid was a brand new stuff. Whoever traded on Hyperliquid, it was actually doing something that is called airdrop farming. So for every trade that you place, you create volume on the exchange. The volume gets translated into points, and those points get translated into airdrops. So when the valuation of the token comes along, then those points are going to be divided into everybody that actually made the protocol or the exchange successful in a way. That's kind of in essence why an airdrop exists. It's like you being part of an early adopter, therefore you get rewarded. Sometimes these airdrops are really, really successful, and Hyperliquid, man, we all got amazing airdrops. But it took a year. So have that in mind. It took a year for Hyperliquid to distribute their airdrops. Okay, so have in mind that this is not immediate. You need to keep doing it. You need to keep trading on it or whatever. Sometimes these exchanges have extra points to give if you actually do shares, or if you do a Discord role. It's stuff getting more complicated, or you actually participate in a liquidity pool, or if you borrow and then you send, a lot of different things that they need to do in order to make sure that their network work. And you get sort of volume through those channels in a way. So Hyperliquid, you get points because you share, because you trade, because you participate on the vaults. That's kind of what Hyperliquid was about. It's still relevant. They're going to do the season 2 coming soon. So if you traded on Hyperliquid, but I think they're going to be focusing more on people that are staked Hype, and then you're gonna get more points and things like that, right? So this is still an opportunity, right, to do if you haven't done it. But I don't think it's not going to be as juicy as if it was before, because the amount of airdrops that we had was just unbelievable, right? So with that being said, now the second option is Asta, right? So Asta that's a brand new exchange. However, season 1 pretty much finished. Now you're going to do season 2. It's a still opportunity to trade on Asta. And someone was asking about Hype. Is Hype done? I think Hype, it could stagger a little bit in price. And the reason why is because you do have a lot of these dexes that now they're new. It's gathering all the liquidity from other exchanges, because people want to trade there, because they want to get airdrops, because they think it's going to be the next Hyperliquid, right? So this is kind of the dynamics that I'm seeing in the market the past 6 months, and finally, I think I'm going to make the decision of closing the portfolio, especially the spot portfolio, and having a very tight thing, because this is the more I see this happening, the more I think it's going to keep happening. And what I mean is, all the attention, all the liquidity is actually being sent to new projects. Things like Hyperliquid, things like Asta, things like IP, things like if we go back and have a look at what is actually pumped for the past month, you see IP, you see BNB IP. I think I'm on IP, which I completely missed this trade. So, things like this, right? New projects. new projects are the ones that are actually going to drive the new cycle. So things like old stuff, unfortunately, we went into AVAX on spot. I think I'm going to sell it. Things like that, I don't think they're going to have the potential to have huge gains, right? It's still I think it's still going to go up, right? I think everything is going to go up, but then some things are going to go up on a higher rate than the old stuff. That's kind of my point. So with that being said, I think I'm going to start sort of narrowing down the portfolio and then going into these narratives. That's the main reason why we build the spaghetti multi sectors, because this is like MNT. We were very right on MNT, which is good. We and that's how we were able to spot this sort of narratives, right? So this is going to be a rotational play cycle in my mind. I keep seeing it over and over and over again. So probably I'll be doing much more sort of rotational trades instead of actually holding a lot, and that's kind of what I've been seeing and just creating the plan based on all the new launches that are coming in, which I'm going to show you now. So now let me finish the airdrop. Sorry, I have so many things to talk about. So this is spreadsheet, right? You'll find, I'll share this, by the way, in the group. So you have the potential Q4 and 2026 Q1 airdrops, okay? So Asta is going to release the season 2, so it's still time to actually sort of go through and farm. And what I mean by farm is actually just trade on it. And the more you trade, the more volume you create, and the more the volume you create, the more points you will acquire, right? You can actually just go on Asta, and it does give you points to do extra stuff, right? The downside is this airdrops is time intensive. It takes a lot of time to go place the trade, make sure that don't lose on the trade. But I'm going to give you a strategy that you might use, but it's very the risk involved. Okay. The next one that I want to talk about is LITA. I don't know if you guys remember that I did talk about LITA, or it's actually on one of my videos. Did you guys remember this LITA change? No? Okay. LITA. Oh, John, you just made an excellent point, mate. John just mentioned that all now saying that all the stocks will be going into blockchain. There is a high likelihood that happen, or what that means is tokenizing the stock. I'll show you something cool. I think you'll like this. So with LITA is an exchange, same thing as Asta, and is going to do the airdrops very soon. So I think we're still opportunity if you go into LITA, and I'll share with you the links and everything, right? And start trading. I think this one is going to be very interesting as well. Volumes are very good, and the platform itself, I think, is better than Asta on that perspective as a product. As a marketing, Asta is better than LITA, but as a product, LITA is better. But I think LITA is still an opportunity to actually trade and gain points and things like that. The downside is you need to know how to trade perps, of course, and then obviously there is the risk. Some people just place open and short, like open and close very quick, and then that's how you farm. You probably lose a little bit or win a little bit here and there, and that's how you farm it if you don't know how to trade. Open and close a position right away, and that's how you actually do it. Now, these other ones, Edge, Paradex, but I just want to talk about these two that I think have a lot of potential. So the first one is Ostium. So Ostium, let me just, where is Ostium here? Yeah. So Ostium, it is a crypto, right? It is a crypto exchange, in where you can actually trade stocks and forex and all this sort of regular thing. So it's actually tokenizing all the forex things. So if you have crypto, like if you say, like if you have never heard about forex or heard about stocks, stuff like that, in order to trade a stock or forex, you need an account with a broker, right? And then you need to put the deposit there, all that sort of stuff, and then trade it, and then your money is locked in there. The good thing about Ostium is that it's crypto based. So essentially you have USDT, you put your collateral, and you start trading every single asset, gold, commodities, stocks, things like that, using your crypto, right? It's a really good proposition. It's gaining a lot of run. It does have the points, your points sort of things. So the airdrop is coming. We don't know when, but the more you trade on this platform, right? If you want to do this, by the way, it's very time consuming, but I'm just, want to highlight this because obviously we had good results with the airdrops. So this one is one that I'm doing. I'm not doing much. I'm just once a day, twice a day, or, doing a small trade here and there. And then sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. This is more like a farming sort of deal. I don't care about the position. I just care about the points. And then you can make it more seriously if you actually, know that Google is going to go up or things like that. Maybe you just leave a position on that. And, that's basically what you do. So Ostium is based on stocks and forex on a tokenized RWA. So I think this is going to gain a little more attention. And the next one that I'm focusing on is Extended. So Extended, there is another DeFi DEX, but it's built by the ex-Revolut team. So Revolut is a very interesting, things that you can do with cards and things like that. So this is a really significant, a really good team to actually go behind this, to build this. This one is brand new, so it's not a lot of people farming this. So a lot of people are farming Asta, a lot of people are farming Lida because they've already been there. But I think Extended could be the next one that if you do start farming it, maybe you could gain significant points by the end of the year. And these things take a long time. They can actually release it by the end of the year, or they can actually release it next year, But then the more you farm it, the more you put trades, or the more you do volume, then the more you're going to qualify for their airdrops. And the fact that it's Hyperliquid set a really good standard in terms of what an airdrop should look like. And everybody's following the same formula. Everybody's following the same formula. So Hype, I think, is the leader. I think is going to be affected in terms of liquidity, but long term, I think Hype is still the king, right? It has proven a lot of things in terms of its infrastructure. But short term, I think it's going to hold a little bit. If not, it's going to drop. Why? Because a lot of this coming through, right? A lot of these new DEXs coming in. So these are the two things. You can go through and read these other ones. I'm not really keen on the other ones, but here's a list of, I'll be adding more stuff here. So this is all the stuff that's coming this quarter. In terms of layer 1 and 2s, this is all the new launches that are going to be happening in the next 1 and 2. Okay, this is new stuff, new projects that have been hyped for months, especially Monad. Monad is being very interesting. So once if the bull market continues, then I think that could be the most capital effective, right? In terms of wallets are releasing as well new airdrops. So MetaMask is doing their own stuff. Ravi wallet as well. Rainbow wallet is doing something with the airdrops as well. And in terms of AI, this is the new tokens doing airdrops as well. So all these are doing airdrops. All these are new launches. All these are going to start gathering liquidity from the old projects. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, I keep seeing this over and over and over again. So yeah, so by the end of this week, next week, I'm going to start sort of narrowing down spot portfolio. Obviously, if you only do perp trading, doesn't really matter because we're just going into these ones with leverage, and then we're going to have enough leverage to go through this. And that's essentially where it is, man. I think that I think I went through a lot of different stuff. Obviously, too quick. If you guys want me to expand on something specifically, let me know, and then throughout the week I might just do specific stuff of everything that we talked about.
That's awesome, Maurizio. Really awesome. We're starting to run out of time now, dude. Is there
I know,
anything?
man. No, I think that's it, man. This is basically what I have planned, and just highlighted, especially extended. I think extended. I haven't started to farm this thing, but I think I will. It looks pretty good, man. Bear in mind that this liquidity, extended liquidity, is still low. So fills are going to be horrible, but that's basically why they give in the airdrops. Okay, so don't expect to make much money on for your trades on extended, but then, and by the way, that doesn't mean that because you work 24/7 doing an airdrop, you're gonna get heaps of airdrops. These things are so randomly, it's a lottery as well, but it's free in a way. Like let's say you take $200 and you buy, sell different things at different times. Don't hold the trades, just buy and sell, create more volume. And with those $200, maybe you're gonna create $10,000, $20,000 of volume by the end of the 3 months, and maybe you get a juicy airdrop, man. That's basically, it's free in a way. So
Nice.
yeah.
Very nice. Okay. Thank you, Maurizio. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right, guys, have a good one.
Ta-da.